Impact confirmed. The Slayer has been activated.
Demonic threat level increasing.
Hold the line!
All the power of hell cowering before one man.
id Software presents Doom: The Dark Ages. Available May 15th on Xbox Series X and S, PlayStation 5, and PC. Pre-order now.
Rated M for mature.
Halliday presents, in the red corner, the undisputed, undefeated Weed Whacker Guy. Champion of hurling grass and pollen everywhere. And in the blue corner, the challenger, extra strength Halliday. Eye drops that work all day to prevent the release of histamines that cause itchy allergy eyes. And the winner by knockout is Halliday. Halliday, bring it on.
Home means something different to everyone. But with Rocket Mortgage, home can mean even more. It can mean a college education, taming your high-interest debt, even a renovation. We've made it easier than ever to use your home equity. That home you worked so hard for, now it can work hard for you. Call 800-4ROCKET or visit rocket.com to find out more.
Rocket Mortgage, LLC, licensed in all 50 states, and MLSConsumerAccess.org, number 3030.
You guys, I just found the most incredible Mother's Day gift. It's called Goldbelly. Goldbelly is this amazing site where you can get the most iconic foods from restaurants all across the U.S., shipped anywhere in the country for free in time for Mother's Day. We're talking cakes from Ina Garten and Martha Stewart, Magnolia Bakery's famous banana pudding, and New York bagel brunches. Make Mother's Day perfect with Goldbelly.com and get 20% off your first order with promo code MOM. That's Goldbelly.com, promo code MOM.
You're listening to...
They're gonna call it a hard foul. They're gonna call it a hard foul.
Mike, hot foul. Celtics get one back. It's 2-1 after a blowout win in Madison Square Garden, and we are brought to you by the what?
Fan First Sports Network, bitch. Bringing back right. Alcatraz.
That's right. We'll be hosting live from Alcatraz when the first prisoners go over in a year from now. So we're looking forward to that. We talked to the administration. We got to be live from Alcatraz. Possibly prisoners. We don't know.
We'll it'll take at least a decade with all the work they'll have to do. But
the amount of money it would cost California in tourism dollars, because that's actually a huge tourism attraction, would be insane. But anyways, here we are, Celtics 2-1, Mike. 3-point shot. Obviously, they shot above their averages, well above their averages. One of those
50%.
Yeah, 20, yeah. And but there were a lot of things to like beyond that. I thought there was, within their offensive approach, it just felt very patient. It was two things. It felt like they got into their sets quickly, and then they were patient once they were within their set. So when they weren't just settling for the first action, there was second and third actions. You saw that they ran that double pick play for Tatum all the time, and they would go to different things off it consistently, whether it was Tatum pulling up for the three, it was going back to Al, they found Jaylen Brown in the corner, Derek White on a flare screen, so they were running variations, and it looked a lot more like the Celtics offense all game long, and the defense has been very good. So a nice win. I don't know what you saw out there. I know you still have concerns, but let's stick to the promising stuff first before we get into those.
Yeah, they won a game they had to win. They hit their threes. They moved the ball well. For the majority of the game, kind of stopped in the fourth quarter, but it was pretty much over at that point. The defense is what stood out to me, the defense and the rebounding. I just thought they rebounded the ball really well. I thought Al and Porzingis and Lou Cornette, all three of them on the defensive end, had a huge impact, especially blocking shots at the rim. And giving second chance opportunities for guys on the offensive end, and then really mitigating Josh Hart's impact, which is, he really impacted game one and game two for the Knicks as a momentum guy. Wasn't really allowing him to do much, not giving him lanes to the hoop to drive, not giving him opportunities for those second and third chances. So those were huge for me. They kind of forced the Knicks into ISO with Karl Anthony Towns and Brunson, and that was their only options on offense. They didn't really have anything else to go to. And part of the reason why was the Knicks couldn't hit threes, and they couldn't get them off. The Celtics defended the 3-point line, limiting the Knicks to less than
25. Yeah.
oh wow. So I was going to say less than 30 attempts. It was 25, which is you're not going to win
No.
unless you play in Orlando. You're not going to win shooting that many threes against Boston. So yeah, it was a good win on the road, and a concerning loss maybe for the Knicks, but we'll see. Game 4 is a big game.
Yeah, and the Celtics really didn't double either Towns or Brunson. They did double Towns late a couple times, but what they did was they just took away that 3-point line completely, and it really limited Anunoby and Bridges. I mean, Anunoby was a non-factor offensively in this game completely. You almost forgot he was out there at times on the offensive end. He's always present on the defensive end, but you almost forgot he was time. And then you mentioned Hart. I thought Pritchard played that role for the Celtics. He was the best offensive player for the Celtics. He outscored the Knicks bench by himself. He's outscored the Knicks bench for the series. He's been really good in this series overall, I think. Even in the losses, he's been one guy that's played pretty well, and he was fantastic yesterday. I thought the difference too, Mike. You would text me during games 1 and 2 that you weren't comfortable. I never felt uncomfortable really with this lead. I know I texted, well, let's just see what happens because of what happened previously, but the way they were playing was different. It just even when they had the 20-point lead in Boston, their approach was different on the offensive end. They seemed just locked in defensively. Even some of those Brunson threes in the fourth to get it within 20, they were contested. They weren't wide open shots, where you say, "Oh my God, here we go." They looked locked in and really attentive to the details. And kudos to Missoula. Anytime the Knicks made any type of mini run, and it looked like the Celtics had low energy, like they did coming out of the half, or they weren't playing the right way, he refocused them. They came out of timeouts really, really well, even if it wasn't on the initial offensive play. They came out of timeouts refocused and playing good basketball. So kudos to him, especially coming off a really rough game 2 for himself, and some dialogue around the league about him. Listening to NBA radio, they were wondering if he was even qualified to be a head coach. So it was a pretty good bounce back night for him as well.
Yeah. The Celtics got out in front. They held a 20-point lead for the entire game. So that's an impressive win just from start to finish. And with the talent they have, they should be up 3-0 in the series right now.
Yeah.
And so, I don't know if that's going to come back to hurt them in the end here. It's why I'm not so excited. Game 4 is the series, in my opinion. Now they got the first must-win out of the way, and now they have the second must-win on Monday night. And the Knicks still haven't played a good game, so offensively, and so I'm interested to see how Monday night goes.
Do you think the offense from the Knicks, do you think that has more to do with the Knicks or more to do with the Celtics? Or is it like 60-40, 70-30, one way or the other? What is your eye test telling you?
I think it's a bit of both. I think the Celtics defense has been really good throughout the playoffs. And they present a lot of challenges for whoever they're going to play. If the Knicks had the ability to make adjustments on offense, if their coach would allow for some stuff to happen, I think they could make some easier adjustments in the series. And I quite honestly, I would consider starting double bigs if I were the Knicks against Boston, because I think that's their best lineup, and having Josh Hart come off the bench. But I just don't know if Tibbs is going to make those adjustments. But I do think this. I think that the Celtics can have a great defensive game, and guys can get going on New York. And that's what I expect to happen in Game 4. And I do expect it to be a close game. And one thing that I need to see is that it's the Celtics can't rely on their other guys to win the series. They can't rely on Al Horford, Derek White, you know, uh, Holiday and Pritchard to come in and be hitting all their shots, and that's why they're going to win. There's a good chance in Game 4 that those guys aren't hitting their shots, and it's going to come down to Jaylen Brown and Jason Tatum. And I haven't seen enough from those two offensively, especially Jason Tatum through 3 games, where I think on Monday night it's going to be on his shoulders in the fourth quarter in a close game to show up, and he needs to because he hasn't yet in this series, in my opinion. His shooting is atrocious, and he needs to. If they're going to win this series, if they win Game 4, I think the Celtics will win it 4 in a row. But in order to win Game 4, I think Jason Tatum has to be the guy.
So on Tatum, can we get to that in just 1 second? I just want to go back to the Knicks point. If I was a Knicks fan, I'd be pulling the hair out of my head because I feel like we probably were fortunate in games 1 and 2 to be up 2-0, and that would probably be as much about the Celtics than it really was about us, about not being an inability to make an offensive play. And, you mentioned Tatum and Brown coming up small, especially in those games. The adjustment is easy. Run 40 pick and rolls between Towns and Brunson.
Yeah.
You have to help off that. There's no way not to help off that. I mean, those are 2 incredibly dangerous players. And you just got to grab Towns by the shirt and say, you can't pick up dumb offensive fouls on this. You cannot push on screens. You cannot, because I think that's what they're afraid of. And you need to refocus. And this has got to be the offense. You want to get Anunoby going? You want to get Bridges going? Those guys will be wide open. Because that's how you will bend the Celtics defense. That's how you will bend any defense in the league if you're the Knicks with those 2 players. And the fact that they don't do it, and that's, I guess, to me, Mike, I agree with you on Brown and Tatum. They got to be better. But I don't think it will matter if the Knicks don't make this adjustment because right now it's easy for the Celtics for them to defend them. We'll put Tatum on Towns. Go to him. Fine. Run this slow post up. Even if Towns starts off 7 for 8, we don't care. Because you're going to turn it over. He's going to pick up dumb fouls. The other guys aren't going to be involved. Brunson's not really going to be involved, and we'll get going. And I think, but to your latter point, that you made, we're going to talk about it in a second. I just think if the Knicks make that simple adjustment at home, like the pressure is really going to be put on the Celtics to make plays on the other end. Otherwise, all the Celtics, I think, in my mind, have to do to win by anywhere 8 points or above is just shoot 35% from 3. And that's kind of, I think...
Which is hard to do in the NBA.
Yeah, it is, but it's something, a number they should hit. You should, 25%. It's not that hard to do. They've just been bad.
They shot under 35% from 3 for the season as a team.
It's 34, 30. If they shoot on their average, whatever it was, I was assuming it was 35. They'll win by 8 points or above. If they continue to play this way, Mike, the Knicks, they're just hoping for luck to play into this. And Tibbs has to make that adjustment. And it's right there. The talent is there for them to do it. And that's, we'll see. Tibbs isn't known for adjustments. He's a really good coach. Let's see if he goes ahead and does this. It just seems like the most obvious thing to me.
Yeah, I don't know why they're not doing it. I think the series has been more about the Celtics than the Knicks, and I really need to see the Celtics in a close game in the fourth quarter and pull it off. Yesterday was a great win. Everything went well for them. The first 2 games, they didn't have their 3-point shot, and they need to be able to win games where they don't have their 3-point shot because there's going to be a lot of nights in the playoffs when they don't. It may not be as historically bad as those first 2 games, but they're going to have games like that. And right now, Jason Tatum is 10 for 33. Is that what it is? 10 for 33 from 2?
Something along it's under 30%. Yeah, from inside the arc. Yeah.
And his fourth quarter play
has not been good.
It's just not good. He's a mess. And they've gone through 3 games now where they're big 3. Because KP is sick and he's just not himself. They haven't had like great games from those guys, and you don't survive a playoff run without your stars being stars.
Yep.
You saw what Anthony Edwards did last night to pull his team through to get by because Golden State looked like they were going to win that game without Steph.
I know.
You've seen what Donovan Mitchell's had to do for Cleveland to get them back in that series, 2 straight 40-point games. Efficient doing it. They're going to need an effort like that somewhere in the playoffs, but I think it's coming Monday. I think the Knicks are going to bounce back on Monday night. I think they're going to have a good game offensively. Whether they make the adjustments or not, this is the NBA. Guys are going to play well. And I don't think the Celtics are going to shoot 50% from three.
No. But they
And
don't
so,
have to.
yeah, and so I want to see I want to see our stars step up because it's going to be hard for them to win a series against anybody if they're playing this poorly offensively and limiting the turnovers too, especially in the fourth quarter.
What were the turnovers yesterday, Mike? It didn't seem high, but I don't have the numbers in front of me right now.
I don't have them in front of me, but I think that Brown's been turning it over a lot in this series in general.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So look, playoffs get hotter. It gets hotter on the stars. Jokic has not been good over these last couple of games. As you see, he went 0 for 10 for 3. And the win they had the other day, he really struggled in game 2. Shea was a mess out there in game 3. Edwards, up until yesterday, had not been good in that series. So hopefully you're right. Maybe this is just a bad stretch in game 4 is when Tatum gets going. And I agree with you, in order for them to win the finals, one or both of these guys, Tatum and Brown, need to be much better. I think the Celtics as a team just has to play smarter and better. And they don't necessarily need those nights from Tatum and Brown against this Knicks team. That'll be part of the reason.
We're talking though, Tatum going like scoreless in the fourth quarter.
Oh yeah, you can't have that. What would happen during game 1 and 2? You can't have those guys being that bad. Like they just have to be. They have to. If I'll put it this way, this is a better way to put it. I don't think they were great yesterday, but if they played at that level, they win. And like against this Knicks team, if they played at the level they played to yesterday, which was better than what it was in 1 and 2, because I think that's a gap. But if they, and that's a concerning thing. It happened in 2 games. So it's really hard to trust anything right now because it happened in 2 consecutive games where this team just fell apart. And you brought up a great point. You're not always going to hit the threes. That's obvious. But I don't think not hitting the threes were the reasons they lost. I think it was the reasons you outlined: the turnovers, the play of their stars. I thought they fundamentally broke down in games 1 and 2 down the stretch defensively. After playing great defense for 3 quarters, it's really you can't have those things and be successful in any series. Yeah, but they put themselves now backs against the wall. The margin's still small. Like you said, Celtics play good defense, and the Knicks could just have a Miami Heat type shooting game, which they haven't had yet. And then you're really in trouble. But hey, the KP thing, Mike. Look, it's interesting to me. So I'm not saying he had COVID. I'm not indicating he had anything because we don't know. But when I had COVID way back when, I went months before I got my breathing back in order, my energy back in order. I run all the time. My mile time went down from, it was like 7.5. It went up to almost 8.5, 9 minutes. I was reffing games where I'd go through the first quarter and a half and felt like I was going to die. I almost passed out during a girls' high school game, which, believe me, they were not getting up the floor all that fast in that game. It took me a year to feel right. So I'm sitting here. If he had some respiratory virus, COVID or something else, and he's still feeling this way, I am very concerned that we might not see the KP that we need to see at any point during these playoffs.
It's starting to look that way. I have no idea what's going on with him, but certainly starting to look that way, and they don't give out any information about what's going on with him. So, um, yeah, I mean, his defense was really good yesterday, but he's not really trying to get the ball on offense or do much, kind of like standing out of the way. So, um, yeah, I don't know, Jim. It could be COVID. I don't know. I have no idea what's wrong with him.
Did you
Obviously,
think he was moving better yesterday?
I don't remember. I thought on the defensive side he was, yeah.
Yeah.
Also, but I don't know. The Knicks were like driving right at him, which is kind of dumb.
Yeah.
I don't know.
That's what I thought too. I didn't think it was anything where he was like getting to the area and making a play. I thought he was just there.
He didn't chase anybody down on a block
No.
shot after getting beat off the dribble, which is like that is what KP is. Like he gets beat and then he recovers and he blocks a shot from behind and makes these huge plays on fast breaks. And there are no alley oop dunks for him. There are no post ups for him. I thought some of the 2 out of the 3 times he went to the free throw line, I thought was soft calls. They were debatable whether he was really fouled or not. So yeah, it's very unfortunate and it puts a lot of pressure on Al and Cornette. But really, it's about Tatum and Brown now, because like last year, KP's just not available.
Yeah, and one of the things that like I think that's great part of his game and helps his team is the energy. It's like infectious. Even when he came back from that ankle injury in the finals last year, you just felt his energy out there. He was making energy plays, even if he wasn't scoring a ton, and you just felt the lift it brought to the team. That's missing. It's you know, I give him all the credit in the world for trying to get out there under these circumstances, but you can feel it. You can just feel he is, and I think I don't know. I'd have to go back and look during this first round series. Did we give Orlando too much credit for the defense we played against him, or was this affecting him, or was it a
I don't
combo of
think
both?
so.
I don't know.
He didn't look like he was sick in the Orlando series. He
Okay,
was, yeah,
just a struggle.
he
Okay,
struggled. This is part of the reason why we talked on like 2 pods ago. I don't think he's going to be very tradable in the offseason.
yeah, maybe not.
He's just not reliable. This is going to be like his third or fourth postseason where he really hasn't either played well or hasn't played.
Yeah.
And he doesn't play. He plays like maybe half the games in the regular season. So if the Celtics are trying to cut salary in this offseason, it's going to be really hard because their 2 veterans don't play all the games. And yeah, so that's an interesting conversation to have
Yeah.
at some point, that somebody good might have to go if they're
I
really
don't
trying.
think it'll be hard to move Holiday. I think he still has a lot of value to a good team, especially a young, good team. He has a lot of value. I'd hate to lose him. Obviously, I prefer to move KP because I still think he has a lot of value to this team. And
Wouldn't
you're
they have to
seeing,
move 2 guys though to really save money? Isn't that kind of what they have to do?
yeah. So you would probably have to move a couple guys. It doesn't necessarily have to be two of your top 6 or top salaries guys. One thing that would help is what I think Al's coming back, what that number looks like that he comes back, and then I don't know, maybe move a Hauser or something like that as well. But yeah, you're gonna have to do something.
Yeah.
Um, but Holiday, probably spend some time on him. I think he's been very, very good this series. I think he's been very, very good defensively on Brunson when he's had him late in games. He had that one dumb foul at the end of game 3. But on the whole, I think he's impacting the game. That pass he made out of the double team, that tip pass to Derek White
That's
was
awesome.
was an incredible play. He's just a guy. We talk about Porzingis you can't rely on. He's someone you consistently can rely on to, make the plays you need. And I think he really relishes where in Milwaukee he was a kind of the number 2 scorer, right? And the number 2 guy. And so it'd be under a magnifying glass when he didn't really get going offensively. Here, being the 4th or 5th guy, he can just make play after play without having that magnifying glass on what he's doing in terms of scoring. So I just I think he's been huge. I think he'll continue to be huge as this series goes on, especially in Game 4. And if the Celtics are fortunate enough to advance, we'll be talking a lot about him. Just he's a joy, an absolute joy to watch play.
Yeah, absolutely. He's been,
And I love this thing. I love his celebration, the Dr. Evil.
yeah, it's pretty cool. Yeah, I definitely think he's been very good defensively, and I think they could do a better job of maybe getting him a little bit more involved on offense.
Yeah,
Especially when their three isn't falling. That's a guy that they could have posted up, got some looks inside. They just like those are the things I got to remember in those moments. The other thing, an adjustment I'd like to see the Celtics make is you don't always have to hunt the matchups with Tatum and Brown.
no,
Um, I don't know what's going on with Tatum as far as Anunoby covering him, but it seems like the only shot he takes against Anunoby is a step back three, and he's not willing to challenge these guys and take them to the hoop or try to beat them on the post. Um, this isn't what was happening in the regular season. Tatum was owning the Anunoby and Bridges matchup as well as hunting matchups. He could do really whatever he wanted. And in this series, outside of game two, where they were triple teaming him and really taking the ball out of his hand, it's been a lot of that coverage. And then him, there was one instance last night where he was really hunting it and he ended up dribbling the ball off his foot where Al was like wide open for three and he just had to make the easy pass. It stagnates the offense too, especially in moments where the Knicks go on a run. I think it really gets amplified because Tatum and Brown during these runs have just been trying to take over the game and hunt that matchup with so they're not attacking quickly, meaning they're not driving to the hoop and kicking during that
yeah,
time. And then they end up settling for bad jump shots against these matches. So credit to the Knicks two wings for the defense they've been playing. But I don't think Tatum and Brown have been attacking these guys as much as they could. I think maybe
yeah.
they're showing way too much respect for their defense. I don't know. It's just it's weird to me.
I thought last night the Celtics did a really good job of just running their actions and not matchup hunting and getting really good quality shots and moving, getting to the sets quickly, like we talked about, and then being patient. And a lot of guys got really great looks all night long. I thought in the fourth quarter, when the game was in hand, it felt to me, I don't know if you felt differently, like Tatum was just wanted to get going
Yeah, he was,
and get some momentum into game 4. And I thought he forced a lot of stuff. I wasn't really that bothered by it because the game was in hand and I kind of got what he was doing. They did get out of what they were doing for most of the game, for sure. But I think that was probably the idea behind it. But if I'm Missoula, I'd tell him after the game is, I get it, but just remember, you don't have to do that. Look at what we did for 3 quarters. We can continue to do that in the fourth. They don't have enough defenders out there to cover our actions. We'll get open looks all game long, and you saw the Knicks really struggle with that. The other element of this too, Mike, is the Knicks have injuries. At least it appears they possibly have injuries that we should be watching. And one is Karl Anthony Towns' left hand. Something happened there.
it doesn't seem to be impacting him. He's still playing well offensively, but he does grimace.
He was like 5 for 16 yesterday, though, so it wasn't.
Was he?
Yeah, it wasn't great. The numbers weren't great. Josh Hart, I think he's fine. I know he was holding his back, but I think he's fine. And so something to watch. And then, can the Knicks find a way to have Mitchell Robinson actually stack quarters to try to impact games instead of putting him in midway through the quarters and the Celtics just foul him off the court? Because
I would start him.
yeah, you gotta start considering doing something like that because you can make an argument he's been their most impactful player in a lot of ways when the Knicks are doing good things.
Yeah, he's been defensively. He's caused a lot of problems for the Celtics. A lot of problems. He's done a good job on the offensive glass, but really defensively, I think he is also a big part of the reason why Tatum's 10 for 33 from 2.
I think so. Yeah. No, he's been great. He's great. And if I was teams around the league, I'd be calling about him. I don't think the Knicks will move him, but I'd be calling about him on the last year of his contract this offseason because he is an impactful player. I would say this really reminds me of Nick Claxton with the Nets a few years ago at the foul line. I think he is completely in his own head right now. I don't think he has any clue where that ball is going when he lets it fly. And I know it's terrible to watch, but if I were the Celtics, I would not change the strategy, especially when if you're already over the bonus or you're close to it. Like it's better. It's weird, but it's better to be in the bonus outside of the fourth quarter
But the Knicks could avoid.
than have him on the floor.
The Knicks could avoid that if they would start him.
Yeah.
They
Or
could
start,
avoid
or even just start quarters with him. Even if
Yeah.
you decide not to start him, like start quarters with him. Yeah.
But the Knicks have gotten off to slow starts in all 3 games. Like just atrocious starts. Why wouldn't you change up your starting lineup and go double big?
When we say starts, we mean three quarters. Yeah.
Yeah. Like why wouldn't you do that? That to me is baffling. I mean, Tatum in game 1 scored 13 in the first quarter. He got the majority of his 13 points in game 2 in the first quarter. So why wouldn't you? And he got going in the first quarter of game 3. So why wouldn't you adjust to that? Was saying, you know what, we're going to put in the guy who bothers Jason Tatum the most and takes away the paint from him. We're going to kill the Celtics on the glass. Even with Josh Hart coming off the bench, we're going to have more 3-point shooting from Karl Anthony Towns. We're gonna have him hanging around the perimeter. And hopefully, we can get him going from the outside.
You know how you do that too with screen and rolls, or
Yeah,
screen and
like,
pops. Like you're not
because
going to
then
do
you
it
can
the way
have
you're playing
Robinson
now.
just do what Cornette does. He can
Yeah.
just rim run. To me, it doesn't make sense. He's a better player than Josh Hart. He's better. Josh Hart's not shooting threes, right? So like, outside of hustle plays, he doesn't give you a ton defensively because he's small.
Oh, he's small. Yeah.
Yeah. So like, to me, it's baffling. I don't get it. I don't understand.
I
It makes
get
too
why
much sense not to start him.
I get why Hart's out there though. Like he was a big part of both their comebacks. He was a huge reason why they won Game 7 in Detroit. So I get it. I think there's a lot of heart and soul of
But
the
he can
team.
give you that off the bench.
He can.
Yeah.
He can. But how does he react to that? I guess we don't know him. We don't know the dynamics of the locker room. Like I don't know. There's ways to get Robinson more time, whether you start him or not. I think I agree with you, start him. And it's also like ways to get your offensive going. And you
I'm
guys
gonna
like
say
Bridges.
this though, like the Knicks aren't gonna win Game 4 unless they get off to a good start.
I don't think they win
Celtics
unless
aren't blowing a 20-point lead again.
I don't
The
think they
Knicks
get
need to get off to a good start.
Mike, even if they get off to a good start, I don't think they win unless they change the way they play a little bit. Like unless they really start like engaging the Celtics on defense, meaning like putting them in uncomfortable situations. And the way to do it is use your best two players in a screen and roll. And when they do it, you can see how comfortable they are with it. It's effective. It's good. I'm glad they're not against the Celtics, but it makes absolutely no sense that they don't. It's the most obvious thing on the floor. It's like anyone that knows basketball sees it. It just doesn't make any sense.
Yeah, I don't know. But you have some questions for me?
This episode is brought to you by LifeLock. Not everyone is careful with your personal information, which might explain why there's a victim of identity theft every 5 seconds in the US. Fortunately, there's LifeLock. LifeLock monitors hundreds of millions of data points a second for threats to your identity. If your identity is stolen, a US-based restoration specialist will fix it, guaranteed, or your money back. Save up to 40% your first year by visiting lifelock.com/podcast. Terms apply.
This episode is brought to you by Netflix. 3 couples, 4 vacations, a lot to unpack. Watch The 4 Seasons, a new series starring comedy favorites Tina Fey, Steve Carell, Will Forte, Coleman Domingo, and more in a hilarious and heartfelt love letter to long-term relationships. Based on the original Alan Alda film. Watch The 4 Seasons, streaming now only on Netflix.
We off? 30 seconds of carefree bliss.
Oof, like wind in your hair carefree.
Oh, like using Clorox Disinfecting All-Purpose Cleaner in the home carefree.
Yes.
Like dog slobbing on the coffee table and cleaning it with Clorox Carefree.
He's on a roll now.
Spit toothpaste on the faucet.
You got it. You got it.
Peanut butter on the light switch.
Oh, spritz, spritz.
Spritz, spritz.
Boots! Clorox, man. Clean feels good. Okay, we're back. Use as directed.
Lights, camera, innovation. Walt Disney Studios chose advanced 5G solutions from T-Mobile for Business to transform the movie-making process. Together, we kept a remote production hub in Hawaii in sync with a team in California to bring Lilo and Stitch to theaters this summer. This is picture-perfect collaboration. This is Walt Disney Studios with T-Mobile for Business. Take your business further at T-Mobile.com/now.
Jim?
Yeah. So you have 360 win teams in the NBA, right?
All down 2-1.
All down 2-1. It's pretty amazing stuff. Rank in order who you are most concerned about, and then rank, because this isn't necessarily the same answer. It might be. Rank in order who you think has the best shot to still win this thing. And then lastly, who is your pick to win the whole thing? Yeah.
So question number 2, that's to come out of the series, right? To win this thing?
No, I mean to still win the title. Who would have the best shot out of the 3? And then the third question, out of all the teams that are left, who do you have winning it all?
All right, so what's question number 1?
Who are you most concerned about out of those 3 teams? Ranking it.
This is a tough one. They've all had some pretty epic fails here. Cleveland really blew that game at home. I'm least worried about Cleveland because they looked really good with all their starters back. That was their first fully healthy game against Indiana. So I'm a little worried for Indiana right now. But Indiana's a tough team. They're going to, so I have confidence in Cleveland. And then the Celtics and OKC are really close to each other, or as far as my concern level goes for them. I said this about OKC in the regular season.
You did.
When Shea and these guys aren't getting the calls that they get in the regular season, how effective are they going to be on offense? It's something I've been looking for throughout the playoffs. And now they're not getting the calls against Denver, and they had that one game at home where they went bananas. But Denver's showing championship experience, so I think there's a really good chance Denver could win that series. And for the Celtics, I have my concerns with Tatum and Brown right now in these big moments.
So who are you more concerned about, OKC or Boston, ranking-wise?
I would say it has to be OKC because of the opponent that they have.
Yeah, okay. So it would go
OKC, Boston, Cleveland.
Okay, yeah. So I think I would be the same. For the reasons you said about Cleveland, I will say, though, out of all the opponents, Indiana would worry me the most. So
maybe more than Denver, though. I don't know. That's tough.
It's close. It's close. I think Cleveland, for Cleveland, I think Indiana's a worse matchup than Denver would be for them. I think they play they have too much offense for Denver, and there's just too much firepower. I think Indiana's tougher for them. I think Denver's probably has more upside, if that makes any sense to you. I would rank Boston ahead of Oklahoma City just because Boston's done it. They've been down in series before. They've won championships before, being on the road.
And their opponent makes them.
Their opponent. Yeah. The road doesn't faze them. They're historically great, all those things. And I would even put Boston and Cleveland really close, all because of those elements there. And then OKC, I mentioned it earlier, but Jokic was 0 for 10 from 3. Really didn't play a good game. Not even on his level, just in general.
Murray did.
But Murray did.
Yeah.
SGA didn't respond. Holmgren looks like he's a deer in the headlights at times.
Aaron Gordon can do that to you, though.
Yeah, Aaron Gordon, man, talk about Mr. Clutch. He's been amazing.
This guy is a baller, man.
So
they got him for second-round picks.
So out of those 3 teams, and I do think this is a different question, who do you think has the best chance of still winning the NBA Finals?
Oh, man, that's if OKC gets out of this series, man, their next matchup is not difficult in my opinion. And then it's Cleveland or Boston. I mean, That's such a hard one, Jim. I think these three teams at their best are all so good. They're all so good in their own ways. And the way Mitchell's playing right now, this is gonna sound crazy. I think Cleveland. I think if Mitchell continues to play like this, how do you beat them? How do you beat a team with a guy who's scoring at this level and playing at this level with his teammates healthy around him? Like maybe there's something special going on in Cleveland right now with Donovan Mitchell, like ready to lead his team to the promised land. It's like a one-time thing where he's just going to play at that level. I don't know, something. We'll see how Game 4 goes. That's a big thing for Cleveland, but I'm going to go with Cleveland right now.
Yeah, I wouldn't go with Cleveland. Cleveland would actually been my third out of the three. And I got a coin flip between Boston and OKC. Only because if Boston gets out of the series and Cleveland gets out of the series, I think it's just one of the playoffs are about matchups. And
Yeah,
unless
but
the
if our guys show up, then we're better.
yeah, of course.
You know
yeah,
Mitchell's showing up. You know he is.
Tatum and Brown have been excellent against this Cleveland team, even with
They were
Hunter on the
excellent
floor.
against the Knicks.
So well, you've seen like this is a terrible matchup for the Knicks, and I understand what you're saying, but I think Boston's a really, really bad matchup for Cleveland. Unless, though, and I'm saying this, if Porzingis can't go, Mobley becomes a different player. Just like I don't know if Boston can get through. So it's interesting. I would say probably because of that, when I'm talking out loud, I would say I'd still lean OKC. And then I guess my last question is because I don't think Cleveland matches up well against OKC at all. Maybe even worse than Boston. Who do you see? Who do you have winning this thing right now?
I have Denver going to the finals out west.
Okay.
That's what I really do think they're going to get by.
Okay.
OKC could turn it on, obviously, right, and like win 3 in a row here. But
yeah,
they just seem clutch. Denver. They seem to be in that headspace where they're going to be winning these games, not like last year where they were kind of blowing it.
Yeah.
So I got Denver coming out west, and then I have either Boston or Cleveland beating them. That's what I have happening right now.
Yeah, I mean Cleveland would win it if they got Denver. Like, yeah, for sure. So like if Cleveland got through all this, I still think Indy has a shot to get out of the East.
I think Indy has a shot to make the NBA Finals, folks.
Well,
that's the thing we're not talking about. They have a shot.
I put in a bet for them to win the whole thing at minus 1800. So we'll see how that goes. But I guess, Mike, as of today, I still have OKC. It still have OKC, but obviously I'm going to reserve the right to change my mind if they lose today.
Is that today?
Yeah, they played 3 today, and so that's my last question. Let's just do some picks. Let's pick Game 4s real quick here, and let's do it with the line involved too, because we're going to have a guest on soon that kind of is an expert in this stuff. But let's go today's game. You got a -5. This for the 8:00 tip between Cleveland and Indy. Who do you got?
What does -5 mean again?
-5 means Cleveland is favored by 5 points.
All right, so there you go, folks. There's a reason not to listen to me when you make your bets. Yeah, I think Cleveland's going to win by more than 5 points.
So you like Cleveland to win and to cover?
Yeah.
I like Cleveland to win. I like Indy to cover. In this, I think it's going to be a 1-possession game, 2-possession game in the fourth quarter. I think it's going to be a great game in Indy tonight. And then it's OKC is a -6, so they're favored by 6 points for the 3:00 start today.
Denver.
You like Denver to win, and you like Denver to cover.
Yeah.
So you like them both in that situation. Okay. Boston is a -6.5 tomorrow night in New York.
I think the Celtics to win, but they're only winning by like 1, 2, or 3 points.
I think if I'm thinking the Celtics are going to win, I'm going to pick them to cover. So that's and I like them to win, so I'll pick them to cover. And then Minnesota's -5.5 point favorite at Golden State Monday night.
Oh, yeah. I mean, if Steph's not back, that's going to be a bloodbath. I think Minnesota's going to win by like 100.
Yeah, I could even see it being similar to last night where it's close into the last 4 minutes and then Minnesota pulls away. And I agree with you. I think it's going to be Minnesota covering in that game. The OKC Denver game today, man, that's the one I'm struggling with. I honestly don't know.
I wouldn't bet any of these games with the way the playoffs have gone.
My head is telling me OKC, but I don't know. And yeah, we're not telling people to bet.
My advice to people is don't bet because these playoffs have been unpredictable.
But that's it, Mike. Any closing thoughts?
I got a game I want to play. I got a game I want to play with you. I play with this employee of mine at work. All right.
Yep.
We're gonna do something here. We're gonna draft our starting five. Any player in the NBA. You go first. Who are you drafting?
Jokic.
It's over. I can't even draft a team to match up. All right, that's it. That's the game we played. So we had to redo the draft without being able to involve Jokic.
Yeah.
That was the only way to make it fair.
All right. We'll talk to everyone soon.
Yeah.